Hi, Rio Grande third graders. It's time to go over our solutions for our DMA. We are on week 5, day 2. So I want to go ahead and take a look at our first problem. It's looking at a bar graph. So if you notice, our scale in our bar graph is going by tens. But you'll notice here, when they started at 0, they're showing that there's a little gap between their intervals because they didn't want to have to make the bar graph any taller than what they needed to. So there was really no need to put 10 and 20 in there because all our bars go past that point. So let's take a look at the title. The title is always going to give us an idea of what it is that we are taking data on. So Connor's sit-ups. And if you notice that in our bar, we have Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday bars. Each one of these bars is going to represent the number of sit-ups, that Connor did for each one of those days. So the question is asking us, how many sit-ups did Connor do on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday? So when you see "and" in there, it's telling us to combine the amounts from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So when we're combining amounts or joining groups, we are adding. So in this case, we have 50 for Monday, and I have M here for Monday. And we have Tuesday, there are 100 sit-ups that he did on Tuesday. I'm going to put a T for Tuesday here. And we have 70 for Wednesday. Now, if we take a look at what we want to find, they're asking us to find how many sit-ups did Connor do. So we want total sit-ups here. Total sit-ups. That's what we're looking for. His total sit-ups. So if I think about how to start breaking this up to make it easier to add mentally, I could say that 70 is the same as 50 plus 20. And if I take this 50 and add it to this 50 here, that would make 100. Then I could add it to this 100, which would make 200. And then I could add in the 20 more that would help me make 220. Now, another strategy one of the students brought up in my other group was they decided that they were going to take 100 and add the 70 first in their head. And then they took the 50 apart as 30 and 20. And why did they do that? They decided that they could use 70 and 30 to make the 100. And once they added 100 plus this 100 that they made from the 70 and 30, then they could add the 20 more, and that would make 220. So 100, 220. So just another way to look at the problem. You may have had a different way of thinking as well when you were adding. Okay, next problem says, if 3 students read 4 books each, very important word, each, how many books did the students read in all? So notice it doesn't say 3 books and 4 books. It's 3 students read 4 books each. So if I were to write an answer statement, my question is asking me how many books did the students read in all? So we could say the students read blank books because, and then we could explain. Now, if we draw a picture to help us relate this to our problem, we know that the first student did what? They read 4 books. So this bar is representing the student, and in the bar, we're representing the 4 books that that person read. Then we would have another bar, and that bar could also represent a person, and in that group, we are representing the 4 books. And finally, we have a third person or third student, and that student also read 4 books. So now if we think about how many books they read, we could see that there's 4 books here, 4 books here, and 4 books here. So if we were to add those 4 books to these 4 books, we would have 8 books. And if we add another 4 books, we would have, right, 12 books. Now, if you notice something, and hopefully you did now that we've been talking about multiplication, you've noticed that there are 3 equal groups, 4 in each group. So if you wrote a multiplication sentence to solve, that would also be a good way to show 3 groups of 4. So here we could say the students read 12 books because if you add the 4 books and 4 and 4, you get 12 books. Or you can multiply 3 groups of 4. So, your answer to go with your equations and your thinking, you're showing your work, and you're explaining it. Okay, so now let's take a look at write the number in standard form. Remember, standard form is when you take the digits and put them into a place value that they represent or they show. So we have a hundreds place, a tens place, and a ones place. Each one of these digits is going to go into its specific place depending on how much value it has. So my 4 has a value of 4, and the digit 4 goes in the ones place. The 20 has a value of 2 tens, and the 2 digit is going to go in the tens place. And my 600 has a value of 6 hundredths, and the 6-digit 6 is going to go into the hundredths place. So when I write this number in standard form, we're going to write it as 624. Now remember, you need to make sure and pay attention to the value of each one of these numbers to put the correct digit into the correct place. Now, if you look at our next problem, we have an addition equation. We have 732, that's our first addend, and we're adding to that 199. Now, let's think about 199. 199 is really close to what? If you said 200, correct. So let's think about it this way. If we were to take 732 and we were to, instead of thinking about 199 as 199, and we just add one more, we could make that into 200. And 200 is much easier to add to 732 than 199 is. And then we could just take out that 1, because what is 200 minus 1? It's 199. So if we go ahead and add the 732 plus 200, we add 2 more hundreds to 700, so we have 832 and 932. So 932 is what we get when we add 2 more hundreds to the 100. Then we take that 1 out that we added in here to make this 200, and we would get 930. Take 1 out of here, 1. So 931. That's a compatible number strategy. We're taking 199 and making it easier and more friendly to use by adding 1 in and then taking it out after we're finished using it. Another way to look at this is we take our place value and we go ahead place value by place value. So we could start with our hundreds. We know that we have our tens, and when we have 90, we know that we need to add 1 more 10 to make 100, and that would leave us with 20. So we would say this is 120. Notice that I'm going to regroup 100 from the 10 tens that I was just able to make, and 9 and 2 is going to make 11. Now, once I add these together, I see that I have an 800 plus 1 more 100, which gives me 900. I see that I have 2 tens here and 1 more 10 there, and that's going to give me 30. And 1 is just in my ones place there. So 131 is going to be my sum. So I can place that up here in my sum. And that is our DMA week 5, day 2. I hope this strategy gave you some insight into how you can use numbers flexibly. And you will continue tomorrow with week 5, day 3. So we'll come back tomorrow and talk about questions for week 5, day 3. Have a great